Hi, this is HansPerm. Welcome to my channel. And today we're going to have a tutorial on how to solve a Rubik's 3x3. But let's do this one in from beginners, intermediate to advanced. So which means for the start, of course, you should have to learn how to solve a Rubik's 3x3 using the beginner's method. So quite only a few number of algorithms you need to to memorize, and at least those different stages until you complete solving it. You should know also those patterns. And moving on to like intermediate level, we'll be working on a typical CFOP, and which is means it's a cross. Um, First two layers, and then the other one is for the OLL, and for the last layer is the PLL. But we'll be working on particularly in the two last layers, a 2Look on the OLL and a 2Look on the PLL. So since we know that OLL are composed of 57 algorithms and the PLL are 21, you don't need to memorize all of those. So at least you should only uh, knew at least about 10 or 12, or maybe probably total of solving those last layers for you just to complete working on your CFOP. And for the last one is we'll do it in more advanced level, and which means suppose you're now a full OLL and PLL. Only the difference is you are performing the real actual pattern instead of using a 2Look. All right, so without further ado, let's start working on how to solve a 3x3 using a beginner's method, and later we'll do the intermediate method and the advanced method. All right, see you later. Alright, so now let's start with the beginner's method. So we have now our 3x3 cube, and let's have some basics first before starting with a beginner's method. So at least you know that we have different phases of a 3x3, and we can name that notation like this right hand over here is for R, and this one is left, L, and we have the F, or the front face, U here on the top. We have also D here for down, and back for B, right? And each pieces comprise the edges over here, of course, and we got the corners over here and the sides, and of course we have the centers. Basically the centers will not move and it is fixed, but normally when it comes to 3x3 their opposite sides are also fixed. Suppose the green opposite is blue, the red is the orange, the yellow is for the white, and this clockwise direction from orange, green, red, blue, and back to orange. Alright, so later we might be completing some notation based on those different phases of movements, doing so like for R clockwise and doing the R prime counterclockwise. A double R or R2 is a 180, right? Similarly, we have also L prime, L, L2, right? We also do that one in F clockwise or F2, right? And same as with our D, right here clockwise, and D prime, and for the B clockwise and B prime. So similarly, if we do the double turn, it's B2 and D2 respectively. All right, so let's start working on beginner's method, and Let's scramble our cube. Alright, now our cube is scrambled. Now this time from the beginner's method, we will start with working with the daisy. Why? Because we need to make a white cross at the bottom. For now, we will use the facing white at the bottom and facing yellow on the top. Right. To simplify this one, you can do it intuitively. Just bring out all the whites on the top and it will form a daisy here. For this yellow, for this white and orange is already on the top. And here goes red and white. You can just move like this. A couple of pieces needs to put up. This one there. Right, now this one, I'll just move over there. So this is a daisy now, with the yellow in the middle and white edges. And what we will do, of course, we have to put them down to complete the white cross. For this one, relatively already paired on your center, you can just perform L2, and that would be in now at the bottom. And this one also for R2, or L2, I'm sorry, and this one is for R2, and for this orange and white will be also performing R2. There you go. So as long as we have a white cross there, so leave this white in the corners, and we're done with the first stage. Okay, second stage, we're gonna be performing or solving the first layer. So once that you perform this one, it looks like an inverted T, relatively in the colored paired centered. So to do that, so we might be performing the RU R prime U prime, and we're quite lucky because one of the corner is already on place. So which means we have to look for this white and put it over here. Suppose this white, orange, and green should be here. So we can just perform L prime U L. So there you go. So let's look for another white. So this white, blue, and orange should be somewhere, of course, over here. So you can perform RU R prime U prime several times until you will put that one at the bottom there, particularly in the corner. Alright, only one last piece of corner is the white, green, and red, and it should be placed over here. We can just align it on your side here, and you perform once again RU R prime U prime, and there you go. So you can see that our second stage is all the first layer already solved, and pretty much it's now an inverted T. Moving on to the third stage now is, of course, to solve each one of these edges. So these edges, it's either have to, of course, relatively pair to that color from the left and right. But we have to know some couple of algorithms, the right and left algorithms. I'll be showing it to you how to do it, and say for example, for you to do it, let's pair this orange and green, relatively this green to the center, like this one. And then if you see that this one should goes to the left or right, that makes your algorithm will going to start. So since it should goes to the right, we'll use the right algorithm. So performing that right algorithm, we use the U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, left, rotate, L prime, U, L, U. Oh, it's L prime, U prime, L, right, and then U. So you can see now that the orange and green is now in the proper place, which is the edge. So once again, let's look for this blue and red. So pair this up here, and where it goes, you can see we perform F, it should be going to the left. So the left algorithm will gonna be U prime, L prime, U prime, L U, and rotate to the right, R U prime, R prime, U. So there you go. So the red and blue is now on place, which is the edge. So moving on, let's start with this once again. This blue and orange, it should goes to the right and to the left. So left algorithm, U prime, L prime, U prime, L U, rotate to the right, R U prime, U, R prime U. And there you go. Almost one left though, which is this green and red, which relatively going to the left. So we'll do perform again the left algorithm. And this one gonna be U prime, L prime, U prime, L, U, and moving on to the right, turn, rotate to the right, R, U, R prime, U prime. And there you go. We have completed solving the second layer, and this time what we're gonna be doing is we have to make a yellow cross on the top. To do that one, we have to perform some algorithm so that we could break pretty much like a 2Look. But for that, so what we're gonna be doing is this kind of shape. We can make a wide F wide turn and R U R prime U prime and of course F prime wide, and you can see now that you have a yellow cross. Later probably you might be doing also the single line or a dot. You might be probably using F only, R U R prime U prime, but then we have performed this line, this square edge there. Right, once that you have the yellow cross, all you have to do is moving on to the next stage. You have to make a cannon, where in fact that this piece of color should be matching on each one of the center. If we will try to rotate, this one is paired, this wasn't paired here, and this one wasn't paired here. So say this is already the first paired, we will try to use a typical algorithm, right? And you can see that this piece now is relatively matches to our center. So this is what we call the cannon shape. Right now, almost second to the last stage is what we need to do is to make all these corners facing the yellow on the top. So which means this corner, this couple of corners are good now, but how can we put this one on the top? So we can rotate like this, right? And bottom would be yellow and top would be here white, and I'll just perform RU R prime U prime until this yellow facing downward. RU R prime U prime, RU R prime U prime, RU R prime U prime, RU R prime U prime. So once that's already there, make a D and perform the same thing. RU R prime U prime, RU R prime U prime. And there you go. So all of which are now facing yellow down. And just arrange it once again to relatively to each one of the edges to color of the center. And this will gonna be the last stage. What we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be permutating all of these corners by doing that algorithm. R prime, this one is orange and blue. You have to remember this one. R prime, D prime, R, and this one should be goes to this pair. So which means you have to put that one here in the corner by performing the algorithm R prime D R, and there you go. So similarly we can perform this one, put it over there, and this is going to be R prime D R, and we're gonna bring it over here, R prime D R. So there you go. So now we have successfully performed the beginner's method, right? So moving on to intermediate level using the CFOP, and we're gonna be performing cross first two layer, a 2Look on the couple of the last layers, which is OLL and PLL, right? So stay tuned for that, and let's scramble the cube. Right, now this time our cube is already scrambled, and now we're going to be performing a CFOP with 2Look on the last two layers, which means the OLL and the PLL. But our cross will gonna be a bit different now. We'll not be working with the daisy. We'll still be working with intuitively, and the difference on solving the layers, now this time we will perform first two layers, okay, pairing the edges and the corners. Okay, now let's start solving our Q using CFOP, using only 2Look OLL and 2Look PLL, right? So this time, okay, let's now solve the cross. Okay, cross. Okay, this I'll start with this orange and white over here, bring it down here, right? And the green over there, okay, the red over here, and then the blue white will be there. So this time we have a cross. So what we're gonna be working next is we'll be solving the first two layers. So this is a bit difficult for the first timer, especially for pairing the edges and the corners. So we'll start with the green and red. I'm seeing the pair of this one, and we should have inserted over here. But first we have to bring them up, and then now they are all facing in correct shape, though I can now pair them up so that I can insert over here later. So to pair this one is R U2 R prime. Now they are, since they're already pair, so we can bring this one on this corner now. So there you go. So we have three more left. And now what I'm saying is, I'm seeing this orange and green and this edge. If we move like this, it's already in pair, but we have to bring it up so that we could place it correctly in this corner, right? So let me just bring it up, and of course I have to place it over here on the top so that we can insert over there. So a couple of more pairs of F2L to be solved, and this one I'm seeing this red and blue, and this one is the edge. So we'll just bring this up there, and what we will do, we will just pair it, and once that it's already paired, we can now insert over this lot. And last will be this white, white, orange and blue, and this. Okay, it seems that every single piece are all in good shape. We can easily pair them like this, but we have to insert it over here. By doing so, I have to place it here. So there you go. So we have completed the cross, white cross, and the first two layer. Now performing the OLL, we're gonna be at least some handful of 2Look OLL, which you already performed in the beginner's method. So once that you see this shape, of course you don't know how to perform it once if you're not a full OLL. So looking on this one, we can perform a wide F turn, and R U R prime U prime, and wide F prime. So it looks like we're also solving a typical yellow, right? But we're doing typical OLL, right? So now this time it's otherwise, if you don't need to perform the canon, but by just barely looking the 2Look, okay, at least you should solve this one already by a simple algorithm, right? But otherwise you can also use now a typical TPUM, and probably at least some ample of PLL like UPUM, TPUM, ZPUM, HPUM. I think you might complete the solve on the 2Look PLL. Okay, but once that we are moving out there, still I have to perform now this OLL. So which means this shape is, I'll be performing that OLL. Okay, there you go. Now performing this, so it's a typical GPUM. So of course, suppose you're just barely having handful of PLL, so I can just perform this by a typical TPUM. right? And there you go. You can see the shape should be paired there, and at least this one should be typical U-perm, right? So there you go. You might be needing to memorize some few of OLL and PLL so that you can perform a typical 2-look approach, right? So this time we're going to move to advanced level. Suppose you're now a full OLL and PLL, and let's see how the difference now without doing those 2 looks approach, right? So let's scramble that cube and perform the advanced solving of CFOP. Alright, so this time we are now moving on to advanced level, so which means we'll be performing a full CFOP. Literally means that you are already full OLL and full PLL, along with sometimes you don't need to have a full F2L algorithms. As long as you memorize that 57 algorithms in OLL and 21 algorithms in PLL, you're considered to be full. We'll still be working intuitively in F2L. So without further ado, let's now start solving the cross. So a typical good inspection, you might be having a good moves and less moves in performing your cross. I'll be doing this white, blue, red, white there, and then of course I'm seeing this orange over there at the back there, and then this green over there. So I'll be performing the first pair I'm seeing at the moment, this pair, right? There you go. I'm quite lucky. Second pair for orange and green in this slot, and this one, and it's there at the bottom on the other edge. I'll be inserting over there, and now for the last one is this red and green. So this time I'll not be performing a 2-look, of course. It will be 1 look literally. So this time this is I'll be performing this kind of anti-zoom, right? And now a typical 1 look of your U-perm, right? So there you go. So this is how we work on the full CFOP method, right? So now this time we'll try to solve it a little advanced, that we'll now be performing kind of not all the time white will be at the bottom, but we will try to solve it using a full color neutral. All right, so stay tuned. All right, so this time let's do a full color neutral solve. Probably let's do some couple of solves, right? So though the advantage is, of course, we have to see whether if the cross are now in properly places. So for now I can do it any color, but I'm seeing a bit advantage when it comes to red. So see, relatively can be here later, and that one should be at the back. And doing that, so I'll just do like this, right? And then here, oops, and of course this. So I have now a red cross there. So of course I'll be pairing the first pair I'm seeing at the moment is this one, right? And this white, and there will be the white green over here, and this one is I'm gonna split it so that I can insert at the back, and last pair will be this white. So you can see now that my first 2 layer is finished now, performing the algorithm for my OLL, so without performing a 2-look. And this one is a typical PLL, which is your HPAL. Alright, so there you go, solving it on the red cross. Okay, let's try another one though, but sometimes it depends on placement of the cross, right? So say we're doing some inspection. Okay, I'm seeing now yellow is a bit advantage though. See, they're now in shape. Alright, so I'll just do this, insert this one there and there, There you go. So now I have already my yellow cross. So I'm seeing this one pair ready. Now I can insert at the back yellow over there, and the orange, green, and this one will be in this pair, and of course this one will be in that slot. So there you go. So which means now I'm performing now a typical OLL shape, and this time it's a G clamp. Right. So there you go. Let's try to solve a normal solve though with a use of a stack timer, right? So stay tuned for that. Alright, so this time let's time my solve using a stock timer, and okay, we'll just hand scramble it, and hopefully I'll be getting a good solve for this, right. Alright, so let's have a 15 seconds inspection. Okay, I'm getting kind of good yellow cross. Alright, so this time start. Alright. I'll be on my last spin now. My F2L, OLL, and of course a G-clamp. Alright, so I'm getting a 23 seconds. Not bad for a start. Let's do another solve. Alright, so this time hopefully I'll be getting a sub 20 solve this time. Okay, let's have an inspection once again. Okay, let me probably do this one once again in white cross. Right. Oh, oops. I think mistake at the moment now. Okay, moving on to my third pair, and this time it's now on OLL, and this time it's okay. Oh, it's better solved this time. It's 21.36. Alright, so I'm not quite lucky. I'm not getting a sub 20. Okay, but we'll see about this. Normally my average is 23 seconds. Yeah, pretty much sub 25. Hopefully targeting a sub 20 average soon. Alright, so let's have our last solve. And alright, let me do it once again in white cross. Pretty much advantage of that. Alright, so right. Okay, now on my second pair. Oops. Okay, I'm not getting a good solve this time now. A lot of pulses, and this time. Okay, I did wrong with my OLL. Alright, so it's okay. So 25 seconds, did a mistake, and a lot of pauses are there. Right, so there you go. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you learned on my tutorial. But it's your choice if you want to start with straight away CFOP, as long as you should do some memorization and do some muscle memory when it comes to algorithm, particularly on the last two layer, which is the OLL and BLL. But you can also solve a cube in no time. Just start off with the beginner's method. Even myself, I started doing it. I started learning the beginner's method before I move on to a full CFOP method. Right, so thank you very much. Stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe my channel. This is HansPerm. Bye bye for now.